Welcome to the Jeff Canada Show. But if you're going to get your feelings hurt, you might need to turn this shit off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the crappiest podcast on the planet, the Jeff Canada Show. I have a guest that I've been wanting to get on this thing for a while now. He's super knowledgeable when it comes to the industry. He's a good friend of mine. He always gives me good advice. Not always gives me good advice, but most of the time he tries to give me good advice. Mr. Joe Kelley from CDX Records, CDX Nashville, CDX Indie, founder of CDX, I guess the architect behind fingerprinting digital music.
That's true.
All of those things, super knowledgeable guy. So I really wanted to get him on here. I think this is a very valuable podcast for anyone in the industry. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
We'll try and live up to that intro. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that you and I've had a lot of conversations, right? Some behind closed doors, some, you know, we've spoke on panels. You know, you're very knowledgeable when it comes to the industry. We don't always agree, but that's because
Sure.
I live in Texas and you live in Nashville, and it's two completely different games. But the distribution, the way that what the labels are moving to, I want to talk about that. You know, the way the digital fingerprint works, the way, you know, all of that stuff. I want to kind of get to that to explain to either the general public who listen to this or the artists that are listening to this that want to maybe just get some knowledge. Because what I've noticed is, man, I've been very, I don't want to say the word lucky, because I've worked my ass off to build relationships, but I've been very blessed when it comes to the people that I have in my corner and the people that I can reach out to. And not everybody has that. And so I'm hoping with this podcast that it's kind of, you know, I want to pull back the curtain, which the industry people hate. I want to pull back the curtain to the general public. But I also want to help, you know, up and coming newer artists as well with this whole thing. So what's going on, Joe Kelley?
Well, we're just, you know, enjoying the lull in between Christmas and New Year's here. This is obviously being recorded, you know, during that weird time where we don't know really what day it is or you know, what time it is or where we should be right now. But I spent all day today in the recording studio, you know, recording an artist. So, you know, I'm just blessed and happy to be here.
So you have, okay, so on the distribution side, let's go to that separately, but you also have CDX Records.
Yes.
Okay. Now CDX Records, they offer a few, I guess I'm on the distribution side of things. But you guys also have a full service label, or are you guys more of just sticking to the distribution side?
We're a label services label. And so there's two kinds of record companies. And one is the traditional label that we're all familiar with. That's the major labels and how their deals operate. There's two things that have to be approached or talked about in every deal, and that's ownership and revenue. And so the majors handle ownership in one way. They own it and they own it forever to perpetuity. And so the master recording. And then the revenue split is typically somewhere in the neighborhood of 12%. That's a good average to start with. Now there's artists all over that have 95-5 deals, but you know, a 12%, 88% to them, 12% to the artist. And then, you know, the artist has to recoup the expenditures. And so the major record company, because they own it, they're in a majority position when it comes to ownership. And they're in a majority position when it comes to revenue. They're willing to advance the dollars on things that they believe in or things that have been proven, you know, elsewhere to be successful. They're willing to advance those dollars for the artist to be able to have a successful career. And they have a building full of people that are trained and knowledgeable and well liked and connected to do the things necessary to create an artist career. So I'm not saying that major label deal or that traditional label deal is a bad deal. I'm not saying that at all. It's a good deal. It's worked for a century. So we can't really knock it. I just have a completely different way of approaching ownership and revenue, in that I created a label services label because the difference between an independent artist and somebody who's signed to Universal or Warner or Sony is they don't have a building full of people that are connected, well, like trained, and all those things. And that's what they need. They need a team. And as you well know, it is so hard to do everything yourself because you've done it. And that is one of the biggest challenges on the planet. And so I created a label services label, whereas we deal with ownership in this way. We never own the master. You always own your master. Now, you give me a 36-month exclusive right to be the distributor of that product and anything else that you want to put out, but you own it. I never own it. And so then the revenue split is 80-20, and it's 80 to you and 20 to me. So I'm in a minority position when it comes to ownership. I don't own it. And I'm in a minority position when it comes to revenue in 20%. And so for that reason, I don't advance dollars like a label, a Universal, a Sony, a Warner would do. You have to advance your own dollars to do things like radio promotion and marketing and tour support and social media marketing, digital advertising, all the things that are done in today's day and age to create an artist career or a successful hit record. You have to advance the dollars yourself. I will help guide you in those spends. And I have put together a team of people that are independent contractors that are knowledgeable, well-liked, connected, and experienced and trained. And so I have a group of people that I believe in that do the job. And I get to sit in a very unique position because CDX Records is a byproduct of CDX Nashville, which March the 1st will celebrate 35 years in business. And I get to watch what everybody else does and who they hire, what independent contractors they use, what's successful, what's not successful, who's relevant today that wasn't relevant a month ago. And who was relevant a month ago that's no longer relevant, because that kind of stuff changes. It's a shifting landscape all the time. And so I get to sit in a very unique position and be in meetings where I'm privy to that kind of information. So for artists that we're working with, we share that information, or I share that information, and so I think that we're doing good work. I think that we're helping artists, and that's what I'm about. New Year's Eve, I'm going to turn 57 years old. I came to Nashville, got my first job on Music Row at a record company when I was 21 years old in 1990. And I joined CDX. The company was formed March of 91. I came in a few months later. But so I just want to look back over my body of work. I've got way less time left in the business than I've put into it. And so that changes your perspective a little bit, because you want to go, man, if I helped people, have I done good? If I, and so I want to always, help, not harm. And that's why I created traction monitoring to try to monitor radio stations and monitor for airplay and the fingerprinting system and all those things, to give people real actionable data that they can use to hopefully, create an artist career. We've had monitoring in the major markets since the early 90s, mid-90s.
Gotcha. Yeah, but they had a lot more money to do it. So you were doing it on an independent level, which is cool.
Yeah, and so my system monitors any market size because I'm monitoring through the online web stream of their broadcast signal. Once radio stations started putting their broadcast signal on their website, it was free game. I just built a system that was able to listen to all those live streams of all those websites of listen here, listen live, listen now, and put it into a big system where it all comes together into a big MySQL database that grows exponentially every
Right.
single day.
Yeah.
And then a user interface for people to log into and access the airplay data.
So let's talk real quick. Let's talk about that the traditional label. Okay. So what you're saying is, and I know the answer to this, but I'm just kind of redoing it. So what you're saying is a label comes in to somebody like me and says, "Hey, we think you got what it takes." Or first of all, they don't do that. You have to do a lot to get those meetings. But they come to somebody like me and they say, "Hey, we're going to give you," and let's just say $1 million just to keep the math easy. "We're going to give you $1 million right now. Here you go. This is an advance," right?
That's what it is.
Okay. that $1 million, you have to record the record with that $1 million?
Yes.
You have to promote the record with that $1 million?
Not promote.
Okay, just
You just
record?
have to turn the master in. They're gonna do the promotion, but you've gotta create it.
Okay, so they give you the $1 million. I'm sure depending on the artist, they make you go to their studio or whatever the case may be, which means that they can charge you whatever they want to record this record. So you go in and let's just say you spend $25,000 to record the record. You're probably looking a lot more than that. The way that they do things, you're probably looking
No
at
question.
$50,000 or $100,000. Because they're gonna want certain music, blah blah blah. Where us indie guys, we can go in, like I can record a full record. I can record a 10-song record for $15,000 if I want to.
Yeah.
In my basement of my or in this room, I could do what I want.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that when you're a label, depending on the deal, of course. Okay, so you spend that $100,000, you do the record, so you got $900,000 left. All right. Then they take, let's just go 80-20 the opposite way, just so that way it's just easy math. So let's say you're on an 80-20 record, you're on an 80-20 deal. They keep 80% of everything that you make, and you keep 20%. But you don't get that 20% till you paid back that $1 million.
That's right. You have to recoup that spend at the rate of the deal.
So you have to take that
20 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, so that $900,000 that they gave you has to last until you hope.
It's what you're gonna live off of.
Yeah.
It's what you're gonna travel off of. So,
yeah, put a band together, rehearsal, all that
yeah,
stuff.
that's right. You gotta do all those things, and a lot of times we've seen a lot of artists, get stuck in the past, when they go out and, and lease a bus for $25,000 a month, and because everybody wants a bus, why would I be in a van and trailer?
I'll take a trailer and van any day.
I got $1 million.
But I know the industry.
I just got $1 million. I'm not riding in a van.
Right. So that's the traditional label. So if you're a young cat, 21, 22, 23 years old, you got the rest of your life ahead of you, and you get into a bad deal, you can recoup that. You can figure a way, you can file bankruptcy, start another band. There's all kinds of different ways around it. But if you're 35, 40, 45, 46 like I am, if you're getting older in the game, you can't do that. Like, you don't have time unless you're so special that, you know what I mean, that you're gonna shoot through it.
It's all, Jeff, it's almost industry standard for an artist, if they're successful, 3 or 4 years in, to sue the record company at that point to change the terms of the deal.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty much
everybody
industry.
up.
It's almost expected.
Yeah. And not only that, when you get in these deals, another thing, because I know so many people that are just trying to get these record deals. They're just trying to get these deals. And it's like, I'm not steering them away from it because, like you said, it's worked for a century. But you're going to be behind the 8 ball unless your stuff is so good or so special, or so, like if you're a Steven Wilson Jr. or somebody like that, that's so unique, that can stick out. But if you're that unique, you don't need those guys anyway. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But also what these labels will do, and I know this for a fact, 'cause I've had multiple friends that happened, they'll sign you, and then you'll make your record, and then they shelf that shit because one of their other artists is similar to that, and they don't want to release you. And
it's the artist protection program.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, same thing with the big booking agents. You got the big booking agents. It's like, man, I really want to get signed with WME or these other bigger things. But then if you're not one of their cash cows, they're going to bury you on that thing.
So I had lunch with John Huey from CAA.
CAA, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
And, he's, a head guy, and been around forever. He said, right now it's a race between us and WME to sign anybody who goes viral. For anything, we have to race to sign these people, and we're signing people right and left on the virality, and we don't know if they're gonna ultimately be a successful touring artist or not, but that doesn't matter. We gotta get them papered quickly, um, to protect ourselves.
Right, 100. Yeah, because it's at the end of the day, it's a business, right? You got into this to make money. They got into this to make money. We got into this. We didn't get into this to make money. We got in this to struggle. But all these other businesses, they got into it to make money. That was the whole purpose of why invest millions of dollars and why invest all this stuff if you're not there to make money. So you can't fault the companies. You can't fault those guys. But like I had a really good friend of mine that was just recently that was signed with WME not too long ago, and now they're not. They said no. We're like no,
Yeah.
we're not playing this game. So just I think the message that I want to get through to everybody is that like when you like just slow your roll when if you get in an opportunity where you have one of these opportunities come up. Like if you're good enough today, you're going to be good enough tomorrow. You don't have to sign something today. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to do that. You just now I know you got to strike while the iron's hot, but just take a deep breath, ask some people, get a lawyer, those things. If you're gonna get into those.
No
Now
question.
now you can do the independent route, right? Which me and you're probably gonna argue a bit on this particular topic. Because you're a radio guy and you've been in Nashville forever and you know how the radio works, and you do your digital fingerprinting for a lot of the charts and all that stuff. Um my opinion is in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 were the heyday for independent artists. And the reason I say that is because Spotify really became prevalent 16, 17, something like that. Uh, and I saw a bunch of Texas cats, independent Texas cats, shoot right to the top for getting on playlists and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't really see
Yep.
that happening as much anymore. I think that that's on the decline. You may have a different opinion on that one, but I don't think that's anyone's fault. I think it's become so easy to make music, so inexpensive to make music, good or bad, doesn't matter, but it's
The
become.
barrier of entry has been eliminated.
Yep, it's been and that bar has been set so low, but I also think the same thing for the live shows. The live shows, it's not who can put on a show, it's who can we put in here and pay them $250 for them to play for 3 hours. Now, I know that those people aren't trying to make a career out of their own music, but those people are affecting the way the general public sees musicians as.
Well, they've devalued it.
They've devalued. Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Right.
So basically what's happened is because of, it started with Napster or LimeWire or whatever, those file sharing, then it went to okay, now they wanted to get their hands around it, so iTunes came out and they started selling them for 99 cents or whatever you set your price. Now on iTunes, we used to get 70 cents on the dollar. That's what we used to get if we sold a song. But then they realized real quickly that people just want what they want, and they want it now. And then streaming services came
It
around.
became an access model.
Now, streaming service, I think were again in 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. I think that streaming services were a huge benefit to independent artists, more so than radio artists, right? But in my opinion, this is what's happened. I don't know if this is true or not. This is a Jeff Canada opinion. The radio companies, anytime someone who gets successful without their claws in them, what they do, they see that and then they flood that market with as much horse shit as they can flood it with. That's what I see. That's what I saw with Oliver Anthony okay, here we go. Oliver Anthony he blew up, did his thing. And next thing you know, I know this for a fact because I have multiple friends that are signed on major labels. Their people are being go out in the woods and film a video of you sitting in front of a tree playing a song. I don't think that was because they thought that was going to launch them. I think it's because they want to flood the market with as much noise as they possibly can because they don't have any control over it. But now I do think that the record labels now do have control over Spotify and their playlists. That's what
Well,
it
they
feels.
do.
Okay, that's
Oh,
what
they do, and they always have.
okay,
Um,
I
the
didn't
major
know.
the
I just
major
know that
record companies are always gonna control the pipeline.
I just know
They
that
are
5
gonna
years
control the
ago
pipeline.
I just know 5 years ago, it was relatively easy for one of us to get
They allowed that to happen.
on a pretty good playlist, and now you don't, you have no shot.
And the major record companies allowed that to
Gotcha.
they allowed that freedom for a little while. You know, we used to be able to get major market airplay, as unsigned independent artists. In the 90s, oh gosh, um, it was amazing how easy it was. But um, I'll tell you, really, there's several things, but one of the things that I want to explain is the Telecommunications Act of 1996 deregulated the ownership of radio, which, when radio was invented, the federal government said, this is a wonderful new invention, but the airwaves belong to the American people. So we're going to put a government office in place to manage the airwaves on behalf of the American people. What does government do, right? That's what government does. And so that's the FCC. And so the FCC put ownership rules in place. And that was, no one person or company could own more than 13 AMs, 13 FMs, and 13 TV stations. A wonderful rule, because they didn't want one company or one person to be able to control what we hear. That makes sense to me and to everyone. But in 96, Bill Clinton signed the Telecommunications Act of 1996, and it deregulated the ownership of radio. And there were companies, like the Mays family in San Antonio, who were sitting there, and they had, backed a guy financially in a radio station, and they were car dealers. And so uh, this guy defaulted, and they ended up taking that radio station back, and or getting it in receivership. And so they said, well, we're car dealers. What are we going to do with a radio station? Well, they started advertising for their car dealers, and they sold a lot more cars. And they said, hey, this radio thing is working. Okay, so why don't we expand this thing? And so they went to Thomas Bain Capital and a bunch of hedge funds, and they raised a bunch of money, and they went on a buying spree. And pretty soon, Clear Channel owned 1,200 radio stations.
Mhm.
Cumulus Media went on a buying spree. And so they own a bunch of radio stations in the major markets. Now, they're in the advertising business, not the music business. They don't care about music.
Mhm.
You and I care about music. They could give a shit about it.
Mhm.
Okay. Can I say shit on
Yeah.
here?
Say what the fuck you want, dog.
Okay. But anyway, they would play the Star Spangled Banner over and over again. If everybody would tune in, they want more people listening longer. Time spent listening, TSL. Okay. So average quarter hour audience, cum audience, and TSL. That's what they care about. And so, when they went on these buying sprees, they were like, all right, so if we have 6 radio stations in a major market, that means we can program them differently to target different demographics, a target customer, so no business could walk in our door that we don't have a radio station that serves their demo. Okay? So if you're a 50-year-old guy and you walk into the iHeartMedia building here in Nashville, Tennessee, and you go, "Hey, I got a sports bar I want to advertise." They take it right into the sports talk station. Here we go. We got something for you right here. And so the country radio station is programmed specifically at a 34-year-old female. That's the target demo for a country programmer to hit.
Hence Morgan Wallen. Got it.
Yes, thank you. And that's why, these female artists go, why aren't there more females on the chart? It's gotten a lot better here in the last couple of years, but I mean, brother, for a while there were no female artists on the chart.
Right.
I mean, very, very few.
We're
Miranda was
we're
about
talking
it.
about the big charts. We're not talking about the independent charts. We're talking
That's
about
right.
the big chart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Main panel, Billboard.
Nielsen rated stations.
Yes. And so, but they program that way. And so, and they're in bed with the major record companies. They always have been. And so they do special promotions with the major record companies. And I tell people all the time, if you want ultimately to be an international superstar and a household name, ultimately you have to have one of those companies that's got, this is the analogy that I like to use, is they have a seat at the big table. Okay. We're at the kids' table. Now, I've spent my entire career at the kids' table, and I don't care. I've loved it. I'm a GDI, and I've had opportunities, and I've worked for every major record company in the business as an independent contractor, but I've never been an employee of any one of them. Now, I've had friends that went that corporate route, went to work for MCA, went to work for Capitol. They're still at Universal, and they're major label people. But I could never stomach people coming to me and saying, "You only sent 174 emails last week. Was there a problem?" That's the corporate
Yeah,
structure.
for sure.
That ain't my deal,
Yeah.
okay? And so, but if you want the brass ring and you want international superstar and a household name, you've got to have one of those companies because of their level of control of major market radio and streaming.
Yeah,
They
and
own the pipeline.
the streaming is now the big part. Like, that's don't even get me started. It's okay.
But here's what I will say.
Okay,
If you read the Luminate report that came out, okay, radio is still killing everything in terms of new music discovery. Okay. Radio still crushes
okay, then
everything
why
else.
is it what now I was recently told by someone semi up there in the music business that if you have $5 million, right? And all you do is radio, major radio. You don't focus on social media, you don't focus on that, you can no longer break an artist with that much money on radio.
You can't. You can't. That's absolutely accurate. I would
Okay,
agree
cool.
with that totally.
Okay, cool.
I just say that it's fingers on the hand, and radio is this opposable thumb. We could lose one of these others and we'd be okay, but if we lost this opposable thumb, we'd be screwed with this hand.
But if
Okay?
that's the case, then how
This
have
is
art
radio.
if that's the case, then how is it that artists like, and again, I'm not arguing, I'm asking.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
get it.
how is it that artists like, but see, I guess that's the difference. See, people don't realize the difference between somebody like Ko Wetzel and somebody like Morgan Wallen. The general public does not know the difference, right? The general public only knows one cusses a lot and is rowdy, and one's sings like whatever, or he has what, I don't even know what they like about him, but that's beside the point. I respect his game, but the general public does not know, right? The general public doesn't see a difference between Ko Wetzel and Cody Johnson, right? They just don't. Ko Wetzel is nowhere near as big as Cody Johnson is now, right?
Who
He's
is
nowhere
nowhere near as big as Morgan Wallen is.
right, and Cody Johnson's nowhere near as big as Morgan Wallen, right? He's
Right.
getting there, I think. I think he's getting there, but he's definitely down the right path. But so what I'm trying to say is, like, the general public, or even guys like me, I see somebody like Ko Wetzel as someone that's made it, right?
I do too.
But he did that without radio at all.
Correct.
Zero radio.
He's a live act.
Right. So you can do it without radio.
You can. If you're that compelling live,
Right. Now, you're probably not going to get to be Morgan Wallen status.
you're never going to get the brass ring.
Right.
Morgan Wallen is an international superstar and a household name.
100%.
Ko Wetzel is not.
Right. Right.
Okay. And that is the difference.
Yeah.
And so, and I will just say radio is one to many. So if you take all of the 11,000 commercial radio stations in the United States, or you just take the 2,000 country music ones, and you go, all right, we're going to average it all together. I want to know the average Cume audience, or let's take average quarter hour. I want to know the average quarter hour audience, average amongst all of them. It's about 25,000 people. Okay. And so one play on the radio station exposes that to 25,000 people. Now, they need to hear it 3 times before it becomes familiar to them. So you need some regular rotation in all good day parts, 7A to 7P, when 90% of the radio listening happens, to reach that familiarity. And I need about 150 detections in a market to reach familiarity. One play, 25,000 people. Oh, that's great. Try and match that with social media, where they're showing your content that you create to 3 to 5% of your following.
Well, let's table the social media talk for a minute, because I have a lot I want to talk about that too. But I 100% agree. I mean, that's what I've said all along. Like, if you're lucky enough to get your stuff, like here in Houston, we have the Bull, right? Which the Bull's the biggest. It's the largest country station. I think it's bigger than 93Q Country. I'm not sure, but I think it is. I think it's the largest radio station in Houston. Oh, if I was getting played 5 times, 6 times, 10 times a day on the Bull, I would in this market, I would be selling tickets.
No question.
No question about it.
That's right.
But if I get my song played list on a playlist 10 times a day that has 300, or let's say 1 million followers on this playlist, that does not mean I'm going to sell tickets.
It doesn't translate, and I I don't really know why.
I do. I know exactly why, and this is where my argument is with the radio. The people that are listening to the radio, for the most part, in my opinion, now these days, are older. They spend a lot of time in their vehicle. And on the weekends, they want to go out and they want to see some of these artists that they hear on the radio. I think 35 and below aren't really spending as much time on the radio. Like, I don't know this for a fact. It just because of technology and the way it works would put my common sense brain, critical thinking brain, saying the younger generation is probably streaming more than listening to the radio. Me, for example, I'm 46. I don't ever listen to the radio. Ever. But I'm an artist. And as soon as I turn that bitch on, I immediately get depressed and I throw on something that I like.
But here's the thing. You're treating it as a primary activity. You're saying
sure.
listening to the radio is a primary activity. It's something that I'm purposely doing. We don't measure, like a minute ago, I said time spent listening, TSL. That's been a phrase in the radio industry for 100 years or longer. And now they've changed TSL to TE, time exposed.
Gotcha.
Because now we have personal people meters that you wear.
People eaters? What?
Yeah, that's where I was going with it, I think. That's where my brain was going for some purple people eaters, Minnesota Vikings. I don't know. But
all right.
But used to, Arbitron would send out diaries and people would write in a diary. That was when radio was a primary activity, not a tertiary activity.
Well,
And
music,
so now we have personal people meters that just log what you're exposed to. So you go in the grocery store, you go in anywhere, you're listening, you're exposed to radio more than you know that you are.
I know that goes to more of the devaluation of music. That's one of the reasons why I don't think I'm at the point now, and you've probably heard me say this multiple times. I'm at the point now where the general public, there's a very few people that actually, even live shows, go where are paying attention to what's actually going on stage. They'll like it when they play the song they know, but they're not sitting there and listening and taking everything in. They're talking to whoever they're with, or they're on their phone, or they're doing all these other things. So the majority of people in general are not, they're not like me, where I go to a concert, I tell everyone around me to shut the fuck up because I want to hear what this artist is saying. Or the other way around, or like when I'm in my car, if my radio, I have to have it at a volume where I can hear the words. And if somebody else is talking in my car, and I'm one of those guys that if I turn it down a little bit, I can hear the radio, and if I can even hear it a little bit, that's where my attention's going. It's not, and then I have to turn the radio off so I can pay attention to this conversation.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we are, to be honest with you. I just think that we have oversaturated the market on every single front. Every single front, we have oversaturated the market because now
I think competition television shows were a big contributor in the devaluation of artists.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I mean, people used to have reverence for artists.
Right. And now we don't. And dude, and I'm going to tell you the metric. I'm going to give you, I've said this on the podcast, but here's the metric. All right. Has it or has it not been a universal truth that if you can sing and you can play acoustic guitar, you can get the girl? That has been
No,
a
no
universal
question.
truth for as long as I've been alive.
No question.
It's not that way anymore.
It's also the reason why a whole bunch of guys got started playing guitar.
Every time somebody asks me, why'd you start doing this?
Get girls.
Girls. But that's not the case anymore. It's not. I mean, if you're famous, yeah, you'll have a hot chick, but it's like, I would say even 5 years ago, if I was playing a show and I looked out in the crowd, I could find the hottest girl in that crowd, and I had a pretty good chance I was going to get her number by the end of the night. Even me, big burly old fat ugly me, I would have that. And I just and it's not like that anymore. And it's not just, I'm not saying that about me. I'm older, I'm fatter, I'm grayer, I'm uglier, whatever. But even the younger kids, I'll go out and watch them, and the girls aren't even paying attention to them anymore. And so that's how I know. That's the one metric that I don't give a shit how many people you have in a cubicle doing metrics. That's the one metric to me that just shows that music is not looked at as what it was before.
I completely agree. It's way different. We were, I also have a company called Country Club Enterprises that has been around since 93. And it's basically always served the country dance clubs. Okay. And so we were a part of Shania Twain and Tracy Byrd and those dance mixes. And we took those artists on track shows and all kinds of stuff. And so we've been big in the country dance world. And so I've recently discovered that you wouldn't do an extended dance mix today like we used to.
Mm-mm.
No, it is in a club DJ's contract with Old Reds that he will not play more than 1 minute of a song
Which is
before he
probably
mixes into a new song.
why I just read that report that said that these radio companies are going to start kicking out 30-second songs.
Yes. Yes.
30 to 90-second songs.
That's gonna happen. That's one of my total beliefs. The new is gonna be, we're gonna have, and we put out a 1 minute long single on the Oak Ridge Boys on a label back, I don't know, probably 99, 2000. I was with a label called Platinum, and we had the Oak Ridge Boys, and so we put out a 1 minute long single on the Oak Ridge Boys as a, just kind of a marketing, publicity stunt kind of thing. And it didn't do shit. But I was thinking, how ironic, you know, 25 years ago, we were putting out 1 minute Oak Ridge Boys records, and we're going to go back to putting out 1 minute records.
Well, I'm telling you right now, put that on the list right along with lip syncing on TikTok of shit that I'm not going to do. I have a problem. I mean, I have a problem getting across what I want to say in 3.5, 4 minutes. There's no way I can, but I'm not writing songs for people that are toe tapping inside of a, whatever.
But I talked to a guy that's worked for me for years, and he's a club DJ here in Nashville, and he works on Lower Broadway, and he DJs in all these places here. And I said, Satchel, I understand that, we wouldn't do an extended dance mix these days. We wouldn't take a 3 minute record and make it 6.5 minutes long so the people could dance to it longer. And he said to me, Joe, if I played the whole song, even the radio's version, everybody in the club would start staring at me like, what are you doing?
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for the nukes or Jesus or AI or I think I'm ready. Like, I don't know, man. This is just not a world that I don't know. It even makes me happier that I made the decision a year ago to fire my band and just play acoustic shows and just chase peace and not fame, chase joy, not fame. Because I think that
I get it.
I think that anybody out there that's chasing that whole fame game, the odds of you even being successful at it is so low. But if you go out and you chase the art and you chase the smiles and you chase the human experience, the the rate of success in that is so high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like since I
And
started doing these free house concerts and stuff, like
real is going to win.
yeah, my soul gets filled in a way that none of this fake shit fills it. And so that's why I went to more the human experience and going back to, like I told you this, starting in 2026, I'm gonna start putting out a record a year like my fucking heroes did it. And
Yeah.
that's it. And I'm doing it because why? Because I want to throw on my record and I want to listen to the record from start to finish. And I don't care about waterfalls. I don't care about Spotify numbers. Dude, this is a true story. The other day I tried to log into my Spotify for artists thing, and I got a new phone a couple months ago, and it wouldn't let me log in because the password was wrong, and I need to change I didn't even bother changing my password. I was
You're
like,
like, I don't even care.
I don't even and I know that's bad for you because I'm on your label, but I just feel that if I just keep doing the things that I'm doing, the right audience will find me instead of me trying to force feed myself. And I think that's what everybody's doing is everybody's taking a big fucking shovel and they're just shoveling it in your face every day for so long to the point where either A, the song starts to click, or B, you get so disgusted with that artist and that song you don't want to hear it again. Like that's what I see on social media. And
Can I speak to that for just a second? And
100%.
about the direction of CDX Records, since you mentioned um, that you are a part of us and we're a part of you, and I want you to know this for yourself, but I also want anybody that might happen upon this podcast to know this as well, because this is our direction. And I feel like this is the direction that a lot of people are going to go eventually, because um, we can't continue to give away music. This is not supportable anymore. So um, I think direct to consumer is the future. Now I'm going to go against streaming right here, big time. Okay, I'm not saying that we're never going to make things available on the streaming sites, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to go direct to consumer. We're going to concentrate on building the artist email list and their text message marketing list. Okay? And we have to incentivize people. We have to use, ads across the social platforms, Meta ads, Google ads, all those things to draw people in and give them an incentive to share their email and share their phone number with us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, rather than try and sell 10 million streams to bring in 35 grand, which is not really any money, but it's better than what we're doing now. But it takes 10 million streams to bring in 35 grand. Now, what I would rather do is go direct to consumer to your fan base, people who have already opted in with you, and offer them an item of great value. And that could be this Yeti cup right here, okay?
Right. Yeah.
That says Jeff Canada on it, but it has an NFC tag that has the music. We're going to charge $35 for this, okay? Now, I only have to sell 1,000 of these to bring in 35 grand, not 10 million, okay? And so it's direct to consumer. It's offering additional products for sale and marketing them properly that include the music. Okay, we can put an NFC tag in this hat. We can, anything, right? And then there's the music. You get the music. We're selling the music. The music is what's bringing the people to us, but we're just not giving it away. We're going to attach it to an item of value and sell you that item of value. And in addition, you're buying the music.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my plan for 2026 with the new record. My plan for the new
Oh,
record was to do something where I'm selling it, go ahead and get CDs made again, get vinyls made again, sell them at my shows, do NFC tags are a great thing, a download card, whatever, those things. And then 6 months or a year after it's out, then drop it on
now
stream.
we'll put it on
And
Spotify.
now you could do, and then
That's right.
then who gives two shits, right? Um, I
That's
think
right.
that is I think if on an independent level, that's the way we have to start doing it again because, man, this is a true story. I made more money off of one Facebook post. One Facebook post that literally took me 30 seconds to create. No thought, no nothing. I made more money on one Facebook post than I have my entire fucking career on streaming.
Yep.
That's a true story. And it's not even close. I'm talking about like $1,400 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off of one post. Like I make more money. Like, I'll make more money off just a "How's it going today" post than I do in streaming in 5 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's to the point now where okay, so if that's again, it's never been about the money for me. It's been about the exposure. It's been about getting people to listen to my songs. I don't give two shits if I don't make any money off of streaming. But the problem is, I'm getting screwed both ways. No one's listening to my music, right? And when they do listen to it, I'm not getting paid. So it makes more sense for me to say, okay, I only have 1,000 fans out there. I'm going to market to those 1,000 fans and try to get $50 a piece from them, right? Make 50 grand off the deal.
Yep.
That makes way more sense than me trying to get. I'm going to tell you something about going viral that I didn't realize. There's nothing on the other end of it. It's like, and this is everybody who wants to go viral. I want you to pay attention to this. I went viral, like
Big
12
time.
million views just on Facebook alone. 12 million, not 2 million, 12 million. It's probably
That's viral times 12.
right. That's probably, and that it's probably around 15 million across all platforms. Okay. For 2 months, it was like dopamine, and you're like, okay, and you're trying to, and you're trying to capture the momentum. But guess what, folks? There's no momentum anymore on social media. People don't realize this. It's not anymore about your followers. It's not anymore about multiple posts. It's not anymore about taking the same post and posting it more than once. You post something that one, it's like a slot machine.
It is a slot machine. That's what it is.
You pull that lever. Everything is factored in right then and there, and you put another dollar in there. That does not mean you're going to win. You put another dollar. You could put $5,000 in the
all
same.
a product of TikTok and that algorithm that they wrote, which was so powerful, and now all the other platforms have copied that. That because basically the developers of TikTok knew that their platform was reliant on user-generated content. If we don't have everybody creating content all the time, this dies. So what do we got to do? We got to hit their dopamine response. We got to give them, hey, here's 100 views. Here's 100 views. Here's 100 views. Here's 1,000 views. Ooh, I better make more content. I got 1,000 views. Oh. Here's, 5 million views. Now all of a sudden you just hit a jackpot. What are you going to do? You're going to create more content.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is nowadays people don't realize this. You can create all the content you want. But just because you got I can prove it. You go to my social medias and you look at that video of me telling to shut the fuck up. There's 12, 13, 14 million views, whatever it is. And then the very next one, it's like 30 views. The very next one is like 1,000 views. The very next one is 12. There's no momentum by going viral. So going viral does not matter the way it and I say this all the time. 5 years ago, if that video would have did what it did now, I would be on the fucking Ellen show.
Yes.
I would be on the Tonight Show. I would be on probably every late night show. I'd have labels coming in and offer me money.
Was the kid that was singing Hank Williams songs outside of a Walmart?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, there's
Morgan Ramsey or whatever his name was.
There's so many stories like that, man. But that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. Now, it's still cool that you go viral, and it's cool that you get some more people look at you. And there are some people that are And that brings me back to my point about being so unique. And this is what I always tell people. Call me up all the time and they'll be like, "Hey man, I got offered this deal." Okay. I got offered this deal. Okay. And then I go look at their social media, right? And they got 800 followers. I go look at their Spotify. They got 50 monthly listeners. I go look at all of these things. And then I immediately go back to that person. And I'm like, okay, why would someone who's legit offer you something like this? What is it that makes you so special? And they always, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky. No, motherfucker, you're about to get scammed. You're about to get ripped the fuck off. Because I would say that I'm going to go conservative here. 5% of the people that are playing live music as a whole, not talking about in genres, not talking about in cover versus original, nut. I would say 95% of the people out there, there's nothing special about what they're doing. There's nothing special. And I would even say, like take me for example, right? My music, there's nothing special about my music. To me, there is, but there's nothing about my music that would make someone be like, "Oh, we need to sign this guy." You know, nowadays you have to be somebody like Steven Wilson Jr., like, somebody that just sounds so unique and so special to make a dent. Or you got to be one of these dipshits that'll
to cut through 120,000 songs a day. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, and again, I'm not trying to get someone to make someone give up on their dream. That's not what this is. What I'm trying to get people to understand is that you need to have realistic expectations when it comes to the music business. Right? And the realistic is as soon as you start making money, everybody's coming for it. Everybody. And like like you have the artist that's the output, right? The artist is the output. Everybody else is puncturing that bubble. Everybody, from radio promoters to photographers to videographers to to producers to talent buyers to agents,
business manager, agent,
venue, all the way down the list. Everybody is sucking out of that bubble. And the bigger you get, the more people that are sucking. And I know people that are on tour right now playing stadiums that make less money than I do every year. So you need to have realistic expectations about the music business. The days of you going out and getting up on a bar stool and playing a song and somebody being in there that's going to offer you a record label, those days they're not there.
A&R people aren't in venues.
No, they're not there. Now
they're not in the streets.
Now you still could get an investor from that. Trust me, I have. You can still get somebody to offer you money and be like, "Hey, let's take this to the next level." But so I don't want this to be like super pessimistic about the radio industry, because it's not that. But what it is, it's finding ways to get small goals met that you want to meet while still having some dignity and some joy and some fun while you're doing it. Because if not, what you're going to do, trust me, I've seen it happen. You're going to sign this deal with this WME or CAA or one of these people, and for the next 2 years, unless you hit some kind of a lick that puts you to the top of their money cows, you're going to be so frustrated and so angry and pissed off that you're paying 20% of even shit that you book yourself. It's just going to happen, man. It's going to happen. Which brings me to my next topic that I want to talk to you about, because I don't fucking understand at all. All right. Again, I'm not arguing about this. I'm not saying you're wrong or that it's right or that it's wrong, but I want to educate as many people as I can about it. All right. You record the song. You go to your distributor, whether it's CDX or TuneCore or go down the list of the distributors out there. You put that bitch on out there in the in the ether. What I want everybody to know is that everything that happens with that song from here on out until, of course, the contract's up or whatever the case may be, your distributor is going to take a cut.
Yes.
Everything. Even, and this is what threw me for a loop. I'm like, why are they taking this? This is just me playing I'm just playing an acoustic version sitting in my studio of this. But then my distributor comes in and comes in and they're taking 20%, right? Again, I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong. I get it. I mean, everybody needs to make their money on how it is. But when you put that song up with that distributor, they get 20% of or whatever the terms of your contract is. They now get that money.
That's right.
So this goes back. So can you please walk me through what that looks like? Walk me through what that looks like.
Okay. So you're basically granting them the right to represent that music across every platform that exists in the world and any platform that might be invented.
Yeah. But not
Okay.
but not just that recording.
No. It is that recording. It is that master recording. However, in your distribution agreement, you might have said that you agreed to have YouTube included in that. Okay. So they're automatically going to involve themselves in the revenue stream of your YouTube channel. And so that is the reason why I have started carving YouTube out of deals.
Okay, gotcha.
Because, they have very, very, very powerful bots that crawl the internet looking for product on YouTube that is by an artist that they represent, that they have music represented for. And they will actually issue a copyright strike to the artist on their own music if you use more than 60 seconds of it. If it's less than 60 seconds, it's typically okay. It's a promotional thing. But I have had this happen where an artist that and I know well had an international television, not television, had a show on the internet on YouTube. And so interviewed this artist and played the song on YouTube. That guy got a copyright strike, and they said, "You have used material that Sony represents, and so you have 60 days to respond and take it down or whatever, or we'll have it removed." And so
But they're not
I
even
went
removing it now, right? Now they're just taking over the monetization.
now they will remove it. And on the Sony side of things and the YouTube side of things, I can
On
I
YouTube.
can tell you
Okay,
that they will remove it.
okay.
They had it removed because this guy was freaking out, going, "They're going to take my show down. They're going to take my episode down that includes this." And so I went after Sony to please give an allowance on this. This is promotional usage. Yes, he used the whole song, but I mean, it was deaf ears. And so they removed they got his show removed from YouTube because he used the whole song.
Yeah, I get the YouTube thing, but what I don't understand, I guess this is what, and I don't know if it's you guys or if it's, I still have some other stuff with some other distributors. I don't really know. I don't really care, to be honest with you. But I'll post a version of a song that's not what I recorded. Not even close to what I recorded, but I'm still singing this. So basically, let's just take what's a song that I've done Rain with you guys, right? So this is just an example. I'm not saying this happened with Rain.
No, I got you.
So I'll play Rain. I'll do an acoustic version of Rain, just me and my guitar, and I'll throw a video up on Facebook. And next thing you know, it says that somebody's come in and put a claim against me and is taking the rights. So
who's the publisher?
you see, that's the thing. I don't know what song. I would have to go and and look at
I
exactly
see.
what
I see.
song. Because
Okay. All
because
right.
what I did not too long ago is I went through and I recorded a bunch of my songs with some, like, really good video and really good quality, and I was putting those up on. Now, I put them up on YouTube and did not have a single issue because it's not even similar to the recorded version, right? It's either too fast or
I
too
have
slow, or I'm not
I have a
getting.
sneaking suspicion that this is a publishing issue and not a master rights issue
Okay, cool.
with
I
with
need to
me.
look into it a little further. Now, part of me, I really don't give a shit. Like, that's just where I'm at. It's like I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not about making money off of it. It's just about putting it out there. Um, and hopefully people see it and hang out, and because that's really where I'm at these days. But I want everybody just to be very, very careful with how you use your own music on the social media apps and on YouTube, because it can get you in a bind. It
Well,
can.
I have a little guide that
Yeah, you emailed it to us, right?
yeah, I sent to everybody and just said, "Hey, use your music, but only use snippets less than a minute. Use it everywhere. That's promotional." But if basically, and I'm going to take Sony's position for a second, we've entered into a partnership and you've just went out and started giving away the product that we're trying to monetize for all of us.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I guess the where I came where the problem I had was on just the completely different version of it, you know?
That's what tells me that it's a publishing
Okay.
issue and not a master rights issue.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that makes a lot of sense. So if I was, because you can, right? Or can you not? If, like, let's say I did Rain and I distributed it through CDX, and then, well, this wouldn't work because I'm on a 3-year deal. But let's just say that I'm not on a 3-year deal, and then I do a disco or a techno version of it, of the same song, and different rhythm, maybe a different key, and I do that with a different distributor. Who owns the
Totally
right?
fine.
Who owns the rights to it?
That's a completely different master.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's master rights. So we have an agreement that says we will distribute everything that you want to release to streaming during this 36-month period. That is you and I's agreement. Okay. So if you wanted to put out anything, technically, it has to come through us
Yeah.
in Sony Orchard.
Right.
Okay.
For sure.
But that is a completely different master. So if you came to me and said, "Hey man, I'm going to put this out through DistroKid or TuneCore or whatever," I'm not going to care.
Right. But I'm also not a yeah, but I'm also not, my songs aren't getting 10 million fucking.
Right.
You
You know,
probably would care if you found out that the one that I released through DistroKid got 10 million fucking spins in the first
well,
month.
I would be hurt. My feelings would be hurt, but
Okay, I
I'm
really
s-
wanted to kind of get some clarification on that, because I get, people ask me about that a lot. And because me, I love to just play an acoustic version and throw it out there on
yes.
the internet. It's just one of the things, because I'm like a huge fan of I'm a huge fan of alternate versions of songs. I always have been. Like, even when a song hits, I always go and look at the different covers, and that is one cool
Yes.
thing about the streaming. Okay, now let's switch gears. You got a few more minutes to spend with me?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's switch gears to AI.
Okay.
I have gone through the whole fucking gamut of emotions when it comes to AI over the past 6 months to a year. Okay? Um about a few weeks ago or whenever it was that I really went off on some shit, but that was because Rage Bait got me and I didn't understand what chart that AI song was on, and blah, 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 blah. And now I understand, just so we can let everybody know, the chart that AI song hit the top of is an Apple downloads chart. Meaning, if I was to take $3,000 and download my own song 3,000 times, it would be at
You
the
could
top of
be, you too could be number one.
it would be at the top of that chart. So basically, somebody could go in and put that out and then go download that. It has nothing to do with streams, has nothing to do with radio play, has nothing to do with that. It's only items that were bought for 99 cents or $1.29 or whatever the price is. So it's not as big of a deal as what I thought it was, but it's gonna be. It's gonna be. It's like, if you just look at the way things are going, it's gonna get to the point where where there's going to be AI artists hit the top of the charts. There's going to be AI song. I mean, right now, if you listen to Apple Radio, Apple, like you pick a channel. I left Spotify. I'm not paying them because fuck them. But my music's still there. My music's still there. Y'all can still listen to it there. I'm just not paying my monthly dues to them to fuck me. So I went back to Apple because a little bit, it's, whatever. It's fucking everybody too, just not as bad as Spotify. But if you listen to like Apple Radio, you take Apple Country Radio and you put that on there, there's definitely some AI songs that hit that.
I saw the other day Tidal estimated, one of the platforms, one of the DSPs, estimated that 30% of the music that they're uploading, or they're getting uploaded to them right now, are AI.
Yeah.
30%.
Yeah. So if you take that times 150,000 songs, or divided by 150,000 songs, that 30% of 150,000 songs, that's a lot of noise, man.
Well, here's my general feeling, and I'm writing our AI policy as we speak, because every label is going to have one, and we're certainly going to have one. But we're not going to put this horse back in the barn. This is here to stay, and it's only going to get better. Right now, it's pretty crappy. I've spent all day today and all day Saturday in the recording studio, 2 different artists, 2 different sessions, 2 different studios with 2 different sets of A-team musicians in Nashville. And the demos that everybody listened to go in and track the song were AI generated. And I've listened to these, I mean, Alison Presswood, and I'm Michael Rojas. I'm talking about monster session musicians in Nashville, and I've listened to them critiquing these AI demos, and it's just not very good right now, and it's going to get better. The quality will get better.
It's not very good by whose standard?
Well, I mean, certainly not the general public.
Right. And that's
I wrote a song the other day. I've had this hook in my hook book for 10 years. And the other day I sat down and finished it. And the hook and the idea and the title is "That's the most fun I never want to have again."
I like it.
Okay. And so I wrote the song, I put it in Suno, it kicked me out a demo of it, and it was good enough to be released. And I had it do a female vocal on it, and I had it do a male vocal on it. It's really a male song, but I just wanted to hear the difference. And so this was on a Saturday, and I went down a rabbit hole, and I sat in my recliner with some ball games on, and I created an AI artist, and his name is Grady Buckland. And Grady has an artist bio. He has a fact sheet. He's completely AI generated, but I have everything created in order, I have a brand book. I have everything on him to be able to release him. And I've got him as the artist on "That's the Most Fun I Never Want to Have Again."
Yeah.
So, there's an old expression amongst record guys in Nashville, and that's never forget, all artists are assholes and all managers are subterranean scum. That's the record company attitude. Okay.
Yeah,
all artists are assholes and all managers are subterranean scum. Well, guess what? Grady Buckland is not an asshole. He does exactly what I tell him to do. And he don't have a manager. Okay. So there's going to be people who try and push this forward. Now, I also had an artist that was creating 100% AI generated music, and we've released about 14 things for him. He's put out a new song every 10 days for, the last couple of months. And we got a notice from Orchard the other day that all of those songs were being removed from the streaming platforms because they were AI generated, and they've got tools now that can determine if something was AI generated, and it was determined that all of his songs are, which is accurate. He told me they were, and we put them up, to see what would happen. And so now I know that I have to write an AI policy because there's a difference between 100% AI generated and AI assisted.
Correct.
Okay. And so most distributors are not going to distribute either one. Okay.
For now.
For now, and now we've seen Warner Brothers do a deal with Suno. Okay. Which means this is the rest will follow. This is the majors again doing what? Controlling the pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
for
will
sure.
control the pipeline.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to get to the point. It's not just that. It's we can't keep up. Human beings cannot keep up. Like, AI is not just coming for our music, folks. It's coming for your assembly line job. It's coming for your mechanics. It's coming, dude. California's about to release its first AI defense attorney. So it's like, and then guess what? The prosecution is going to have to put out AI attorney as well, because there's no way a human attorney is going to beat an AI attorney.
No, because the AI attorney has all the world's legal knowledge.
100%. So it's like, so we're at the point now where, the arts obviously are going to take a huge hit. They are all over the place. I mean, I have a friend of mine who's been an editor for a romance novel company for the last like 25 years, and she just got laid off because AI can edit a novel in 30 seconds when it takes her a month to read it and really edit it. I know tons of people that have lost their jobs because AI. It's coming, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? It's even more important now that we are our true selves through our art. Even more. And that's why, and I will blame Morgan Wallen. I'm not even going to, I think that Morgan Wallen was invented to get society more prepared for AI music. I truly believe that, because I think that everything he's done since his first record sounds like AI anyway. There's so many filters going through his voice. There's so many filters going through, like, I don't understand. You record in fucking Nashville with some of the best artists on the planet. Why are all the guitars and stuff going through these crazy filters? It makes no sense, right? It doesn't make any sense until the AI music comes along. And now it's like, no, what we want is the radio artists that are up there. We want them to sound more and more gradually digital, more and more gradually AI. So that way, when we do AI, the general public's not be able to tell the difference. That's what I think, but I'm a conspiracy theorist. That's just what I think. And I think it's just another way for them to screw us. Now, I don't think they're screwing us intentionally. They're making as much money as they possibly can. And we're just the collateral damage of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard people say, it's going to make us all extremely wealthy and we're not going to have to work. We're not going to need those jobs.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I've also seen what we do in this country, and the money and the power goes to the people that already have the money and the power, and the has-beens become more, or not the has-beens, the haves become more, and the have-nots become more, and the distance in between, and that's what's going to happen because there's no fucking guardrails. It's just what's going to happen. There's no, take Spotify. If I was just throwing darts at a fucking idea board and I was to build the perfect company, Spotify is the perfect company. Like, it's like Goodwill. They get 100% of what they're selling is donated by someone, us. They give us nominal returns, and they reap all the benefits. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. When you got somebody like me who was at like 5,000 monthly listeners like a year ago, I'm in the top like 3% earners on Spotify at 5,000 monthly listeners. 87% of people their songs don't even get over 1,000 spins.
Right.
87% of songs never get over 1,000 spins. So I got 5,000 monthly listeners. You would think I'm doing pretty good, right? But I'm not. And that's why it's all the way down to like 1,500 or 1,400 or whatever it is right now. I haven't looked in a while because I just stopped even worried about promoting, because I don't want to promote Spotify anymore. And it's a tough deal.
They have 600 million users, 12 million artists. Out of those 12 million, 22,000 earned over $50,000 this year.
How many million?
12 million artists.
So 12 million artists. How many artists hit over?
22,000 of them earned over $50,000 in streams.
That's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane. So what are we playing the game for? Like that's my biggest question. Like to these people, to these artists, and I see it every day. These artists that are, I know that you don't want to sit in front of a fucking phone screen and lip sync your song. I know you don't. I don't know a single artist that enjoys doing that. But we're doing it. And why are you doing it? You're doing it to go viral. You're doing it to promote your song. The problem is you're not promoting it to anyone anymore. No one's on the other end of it. No one's listening. Go look. You put out a good song. I mean, the one cool thing about that Shut the Fuck Up video I did is it was 14 and a half seconds long, and the average listening time was 14 and a half seconds. So the 12 million people that watched it, they watched the
whole thing.
The whole thing. But the thing is, that didn't affect anything else about my life. Nothing. It didn't bring me in more money. It didn't bring me in more shows. It didn't bring me in more notoriety.
Nothing converted.
The only thing I get is I'll bring it up to somebody. They're like, "Oh, I saw that video," but they don't even know it was me. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is the point of doing all this? You know, there's a band here in town called Bottomland. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they're killing it, man. And they started getting all these rises on TikTok and stuff, and they're doing they're lip syncing to their song, and they're super good as Cannon Brand and Justin Lane Gates. They're super, super good, man. But they're not, nothing's coming from that. I mean, they're getting some opportunities, but that's because how connected Cannon is. You know what I mean? Like there's just no there anymore. So why are we doing it?
Well, Larry Gatlin stood with me, and Larry Gatlin has been addicted to cocaine, and he's been addicted to alcohol, and he's been to many, many, rehabs, and he jokes about it now, and he said, "Joe, that was back during the days that I thought Colombian drug lord children needed to buy books too." Things of that nature, and he said, "You see that spotlight right there?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "That's the most addictive thing on the planet."
Yeah. It is. Until it's not. And I think that's what's happening. I think you're starting to see guys. I say it all the time. I would rather sit down in front of 5, 10, 15 people at a house concert that are listening to what I'm doing than play in front of 10,000 people at a show that no one's listening to a single thing I'm doing. And I've done both multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm one of those I wouldn't say lucky artists, those artists that worked hard and did the right things and made the networks that have gotten to open up for my heroes, that have gotten to play in front of, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 people. And there's nothing there. There's nothing on the other end of that. There's just not. I mean, I know artists that open up for Cody Johnson in front of 50,000 people, and then nobody even knows who they are. So it's like all the traditional ways of getting discovered are just not there. So we have to build it ourselves. We have to figure out you got to just figure out another way to do it.
Yes, I completely agree.
We got guys that support independent music like Joe Kelley.
Well, I'm a bit of a dreamer myself, and I'm in a business that in a high 90% fail. And I go to work every single day for that next time that it works.
Yeah. And luckily on our end, on the artist's end, success and failure has so many different looks. You know what I mean? On y'all's end, it's business. Like success and failure is what's in that ledger. For us, it's not. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's not. I mean, I'm right now, I'm the happiest I've been in the last 20 years, and I'm not chasing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm taking what comes to me, and I'm enjoying those shows. And, you know, I've written this new record. I've written probably 60, 70 songs for this new album. Uh, Currently trying to figure out which 10 I want to put out. I already have, you know, Johnny Woods. I don't know if you know who Johnny Woods is going to produce. You know, I shopped probably 25 different producers, some there in Nashville, some in other places. Um, but I'm not, again, I don't need to go to Nashville because I'm not trying to play that game.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't need to say, well, I recorded this at so and so studio. I don't have to do that. I can say, no, I produced it myself like I have everything else. You know what I mean? Or
Really and truly, nobody cares. You know how many times, I've had somebody look at me with that knowing nod and said, you know, Blake Shelton's bass player played on this and he produced it.
right. Yeah. Who gives a two?
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah, I had Jody Bartula, who plays for Cody Johnson, play on Back to Texas. Nobody gives. I say that sometimes I say it on stage, and like nobody even. It's like, why did I even say that? That was stupid.
And
Yeah, I just name drop for no reason. No, I agree. I don't. I mean,
you
yeah.
know, you shouldn't name drop. Keith Richards told me that.
Okay. Well, I got to thank you for a couple things. I need to thank you. The day I met you, you and I had a conversation. That was super no holds barred. It was super like unfiltered Joe Kelley, unfiltered Jeff Canada having a conversation. You were extremely open, extremely honest with me, extremely knowledgeable. I was voicing some of my opinions about things like radio promoters and that sort of things.
Yes.
So one thing is I want you to know I value even if I disagree with you, I value what you have to say. And so I want
And
you to
likewise,
and I
Jeff.
want you to know that, right? And I know that there's probably some things that I do that you roll your head about. But that's cool too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I wanted to tell you that. I've also wanted to tell you, man, that legit, every single person I've talked to in this business that knows you or has worked with you has nothing but good things to say about you.
Oh man, that does my
Uh,
heart good.
I may have not met the right people yet,
Yeah, well,
but
if you don't stacking up haters like cordwood, you're not doing
yeah, well,
anything.
you
So
know
I'm
me.
sure I've got
You
I'm
know
sure I've
me.
got some.
I've got a list. I've got a whole list of them. So, man, I just really want to thank you for being so open and sharing your knowledge with artists that are nobodies. You know what I mean? People like me that are nobodies. I mean, I know everyone's a somebody, but in the grand scheme of the music business, I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? Peyton Riley's a nobody. Go down the list. Peyton Howie. You know, all these people. They're really nobodies, even though they're fantastic and they're talented and they have so much to offer, but they're nobodies in the grand scheme of things. And if it's not for people like you, and Linda Wilson, and I mean, I could go down the list of people that actually cared about the music and cared about us as artists, and y'all don't see us as a bottom line. And I just I think that we need more people like that. And you've told me some things like what like I was worried what your opinion of my stuff was, right? When we had our meeting in January or whenever I was down there or up there, yeah, I was kind and you were like, "No, you keep doing what you're doing
Right on.
because what you're doing is turning heads." And if there's one thing I'm super proud of is that I'm pretty fucking well known.
Yeah. Hell
May-
yeah, you are.
Maybe not for the right things, but I'm definitely there's a lot of people that know who I am. And a lot of that is because of, you know, my honesty and the way that I portray myself, and I'm, you know, and yeah,
I just love how you approach things and, everybody if we all agree on everything, then we ain't doing shit,
it'd be a
you
boring
know?
world.
Oh god, you know? But
We'd
I
all be
like how
writing
I
Morgan
like your
Wallen songs.
approach. Huh?
We'd all be writing Morgan Wallen songs.
Yeah, right. But I like how you approach things and it's sometimes it's wide ass open and sometimes by God it needs to be. There's you know, there's too many people out there that wouldn't say shit if they had a mouthful.
Yeah, I know. I'm told to be quiet nonstop. I've been told by so many people that if you would just keep your mouth shut, you'd be much further along in your career. And what I have to say about that is the people that I know that keep their mouth shut, not as many people know who they are.
That's right.
So, and also, I got into music because fuck the rules,
Yeah,
right? Like
and girls.
yeah, and girls. Like I'm a rebel at heart, right? And so it was just one industry you could get in where you don't there's no real right way to do it. There's definitely some wrong things to do, but there's no right way to do it.
There's a bunch of right ways.
Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of right ways. And just because it was right for somebody else doesn't mean it's gonna be right for you. So,
But
all right,
this is
buddy.
the music business, okay, not the music friendship. I consider you my friend, okay?
100%.
But most relationships in this business are transactional, okay?
100%.
And, if you want a friend in Nashville, buy a dog. This is a cutthroat place.
Yeah. I mean, I'm blessed to know, like, thank you so much for introducing me to John Brennan. Like, me and that guy's hit it off man, I trust
He
that dude. He's a
he's a prince of a human.
Yeah, man. I got him. I got Scooter Brown. I mean, I guess he's not living there now. He moved to Mexico, but so I got Scooter Brown. I got Justin Biltonen from Three Doors Down lives there. I have some people that live there that I would trust, you know,
Yeah.
completely. But I also have some people that live there that are complete and total snakes. And I know it and they know it and it just is what it is. But I think that's also every industry, man. It's every industry is that way. Like people want to think the music industry's business is the music business is different than any other business. It's not. It's 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 supply and it's demand. It's who can market themselves the best, the most effectively. It's who you know. It's a lot of who you know. Um, Networking. Almost every business out there is that way.
I learned it really, really early, and I'm gonna spill some hot tea here, but, I went to work for my first record company in 1990 when I was 21 years old, and I won't name her, but the head of the record company, was a very, very well-known music industry person, and she, was getting up there in years, and I used to have to drive her home in the afternoons, and it was nearing Christmas, and I was making $5 an hour. I had been making $10 an hour as a frame carpenter prior to that, and I took a 50% pay cut to get on the row and get at a record company. I was making $5 an hour, and Christmas was coming up, and I didn't have any money to buy gifts for my family, and so I was taking her home one afternoon in her Lincoln Town Car to her, antebellum mansion in Hendersonville, and I told her, I said, I'm gonna need to make some more money. I can't survive on $5 an hour, and I told her, I said, "Christmas is coming, I don't know what I'm gonna do," and she said, "Well, you've done a great job, and I'm just I'm gonna write you a bonus check." And so she took out her personal checkbook, and she wrote me a check for $500. This is in December of 1990, so $500 was a nice little bonus. And she said, "Now I'm writing this out of my personal account, but I don't want you to worry. I'll get reimbursed. I'll expense this to the company, and I'll get this money back." And I said, "Okay." And so I took that $500 and I bought Christmas with it. And in February, the guy who owned the company, who was from Conroe, Texas, uh, Jim Lawrence, JD Lawrence, and his wife Nancy flew their $11 million Learjet into Stevens Aviation in Nashville, the millionaire airport, the private. And they landed and came to the office and they walked in and they said, "We're shutting this company down." And so 60 days later, I was out of a gig. And do you know the lady that owns that company? Oh, I mean, that ran that company came to me and said, "You got that $500 I loaned you?"
Wow.
And I said, "You said that was a bonus." And she said, "It says loan on the memo line of the check now."
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
crazy.
was 21,
Yeah.
and I realized that I was in a pit of vipers. I had to sharpen my tools. And so I vowed, because I was also working with Jim Fogelsong, who was Gentleman Jim. He's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. He signed the Oaks, Trisha Yearwood, Vince Gill, George Strait, Garth Brooks. He signed them all to their original record deals. He's an icon in the record business. And he was singing in his church's choir, and he wouldn't cuss or allow you to cuss around him. I mean, he was Gentleman Jim. He was the nicest man on the planet. And Jim really took me under his wing and and taught me a tremendous amount about the record business. And I always said to myself, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to return that favor. And so that's, you know, always in my mind, is to help people like I was helped.
Well, I think you've done that a millionfold. I mean, I really do. I really, really do. I mean, anytime anytime I've ever called you, you've either told me you'll call me right back, and you have, and you've never made me feel rushed on the phone. You've always listened, and uh, you've always given advice that I knows from the heart. And to me, that's the only way. To me, that's I mean, that's just the mark of good character, in my opinion. So,
That's my promise to you and to anybody within the sound of my voice.
but you were that
Is
way, yeah. But you were that way before I signed with y'all.
right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you were
Yeah.
that way before. Like, you and I had most of our conversations before I became an artist, a CDX artist. So,
So
all
then
right,
it
buddy.
worked. It worked. I
It
got you.
dude. But here's the question: Where are you spending that 34 cents that you've made off me so far? That's the real question. I don't even think I've gotten a check from y'all yet.
It's the 34 million that you're gonna make me.
Think about that. I've been with you guys for almost a year next month, and I've still never even received a check.
Well, we
No,
need
I
to
know
look at
why.
that.
There's no money there.
My contract says you will get a check when your account accrues more than $1,000.
Exactly.
Only because I don't want to write $13 checks. Okay.
Dude, we're on the same. You know what? I don't even want it. I'm at the point now where it's like, the other day I got a check from BMI for 14 cents.
See, that doesn't make any
It
sense.
makes 0 cents.
That costs more than that.
Yeah. So it's just,
60 cents to mail it.
I have no idea. I think there's a way that I can check to see how much is in there, but I've never looked, and I don't even want to know. When it hits the 1,000, let me know, and I'm I'm probably gonna go give that $1,000 to a homeless person or something. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Um, but
I totally get it.
but okay, well, let's get off here, man. I've kept you for an hour and a half. But I definitely want to keep the window open, or the door open for future episodes when things happen. And
I'd love to.
because the cool thing
Anytime.
about this app is we can just get on to a 20 or 30-minute episode. You know what I mean? We don't have to do the
Yeah.
full fledged. And I also want you to talk more about your past and your history. And tonight was more of just the industry. And I really want to give. I mean, this podcast is not just about the music business. I've had lawyers and I've had sheriffs and I've had all kinds of stuff, but
Cool.
really, man, like I want to try to educate as many people as I possibly can, but I also want people that'll call me on my bullshit, which is why I really wanted you on here. So if I say something that is not accurate or not it's not true to your knowledge, I want someone to correct me, because then that only helps the listener. That only helps other artists. It only
Yeah,
helps
that's
me.
right.
If you think you have everything figured out, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
So,
I get up at 5 o'clock every morning and start reading the trades to try and keep up with the changes that happen every day.
well, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and take Google University classes for marketing. That's what I do. Uh, and I now have a marketing job, and it pays my bills, and so every time I'm on a stage, I'm having fun again.
Amen.
So anybody out there that's just dying to become a full-time musician, I hope you know that you're not gonna do it without playing other people's songs and having your soul sucked smooth out of your fucking body. Unless you're one of the lucky few that hit your lick on your first release, you know? All right,
Lightning in a
brother.
bottle.
Well,
All right, man.
thank you for coming on. Like I said, don't
Thank
hop
you
off.
for having me.
Absolutely, anytime, man. And if you have an artist that you want to get on here, I'm still building it back up. You know, I took a year off after the breakup and everything, which that's the last time I saw you was right after that had happened. I took a year off. I'm trying to get the views back up. I'm not getting that many, but if you have other artists that you want to send on here, dude, just let me know. I'd love to have them if I don't know
Okay,
them or, um,
for sure.
you know, I'm starting to get a lot more artists now that I can do it remote that I can have these conversations with. So once again, don't hop off here once I say exit and so we can upload it. But all right, man.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thank you, bud.